आदरणीय दर्शक तथा श्रोताहरू नमस्कार एवं सुप्रभात। रेड एफएम 106.7 मेगाहर्ज तथा फेसबुक तथा युट्युब लाइभ मार्फत एनसिएससीद्वारा निर्मित नेपाली रेडियो क्यालेगरीलाई प्रत्यक्ष रूपमा सुन्दै हेर्दै हुनुहुने सम्पूर्ण आदरणीय श्रोताहरू र दर्शकहरूप्रति आजको कार्यक्रमको प्रस्तुता म रमेशको हार्दिक स्वागत तथा न्यानो अभिवादन। हरेक शनिबार क्यालगरीको समयअनुसार बिहान 8 बजे र हाल नेपालको समयअनुसार बेलुका 7:45 जाँदा हामी यहाँहरूमा स्थानीय एफएम रेड एफएम 106.7 मेगाहर्ज तथा फेसबुक पेज र युट्युब च्यानल मार्फत प्रत्यक्ष रूपमा कार्यक्रम प्रस्तुत गर्दै आइरहेका छौँ। आज चैत 28 गते 2082 शनिबार तदनुसार अप्रिल 11 2026 शनिबार। आजको यस 390औं श्रृङ्खलामा पनि हामी यहाँहरूमा केही सूचनामूलक र मनोरञ्जनात्मक सामग्रीहरू लिएर उपस्थित भइसकेका छौँ। आजको यो कार्यक्रमसहित हाम्रा सम्पूर्ण अघिल्ला कार्यक्रमहरू यहाँहरूले जुनसुकै बेला पनि हाम्रो फेसबुक पेज तथा युट्युब च्यानल नेपाली रेडियो क्यालगरीमा गएर हेर्न र सुन्न सक्नुहुनेछ। साथै आज हामीसँग विभिन्न माध्यमबाट प्रत्यक्ष रूपमा जोड्ने भएका सम्पूर्ण दर्शक तथा श्रोतागणलाई हामी विशेष धन्यवाद व्यक्त गर्न चाहन्छौँ। यदि तपाईँहरूले अहिलेसम्म हाम्रो फेसबुक पेजलाई लाइक र फलो गर्नुभएको छैन भने कृपया फेसबुकमा गएर नेपाली रेडियो क्यालगरीलाई लाइक, फलो र सेयर गरिदिनु हुन पनि अनुरोध गर्दछौँ र हाम्रो युट्युब च्यानल नेपाली रेडियो क्यालगरीलाई पनि सब्सक्राइब गरिदिनु हुन अनुरोध गर्न चाहन्छौँ। तपाईँहरूको माया र सद्भावले नै हामीलाई कार्यक्रम अझ उत्कृष्ट बनाउँदै अघि बढ्ने प्रोत्साहन प्रदान गर्दछ। यसका साथै यहाँहरूले आफ्ना सुझाव, सल्लाह र प्रतिक्रियाहरू हामीलाई फेसबुकको कमेन्ट बक्स अथवा मेसेज मार्फत पनि हामीलाई पठाउन सक्नुहुनेछ। तपाईँहरूको लागि तयार गरिएको यो विशेष श्रृङ्खला हेरी र सुनी आफ्नो अनुभव बाँड्न पनि नबिर्सिनुहोला। आजको कार्यक्रममा हामीसँग ट्रेलिस सोसाइटी अन्तर्गत कार्यरत प्लानेट युथ म्यानेजर सेलिना बाटा स्याडल रिज नर्थ इस्ट र प्लानेट युथ म्यानेजर ग्रेटर फरेस्ट लन एरियाबाट सुराफियल किब्रिभ, साथै हामीसँग युनाइटेड वेका म्यानेजर अफ कम्युनिटी एन्ड फ्यामिली सिस्टम्स का रूपमा कार्यरत बेथ ईद यहाँ हामीसँग उपस्थित हुनुहुन्छ। उहाँहरूसँग हामी परिवार, विद्यालय र समुदायको संयुक्त प्रयास मार्फत युवाहरूलाई कसरी सहयोग र सशक्तिकरण गर्न सकिन्छ भन्ने विषयमा कुराकानी गर्नेछौँ। Thank you so much for coming here today. So we'll begin the program with the introduction first. So Surafiel, could you please introduce yourself?
Yeah, sure. Thanks for having us today. And yeah, my name is Rafael Kibrab, and I am originally from East Africa, Eritrea. I moved to Canada in 2017, I guess. And I've been living in Calgary for the past 6 years. And yeah, I am the Planet Youth Manager for the Greater Frost Zone area. And I am affiliate. I work under Trellis Society. Yeah, I'm here today actually with my beautiful colleagues to talk about Planet Youth, and yeah, and thank you for having us again.
Thank you so much,
Yeah.
Surafiel. Welcome to the show. Beth, could you please introduce yourself?
Thank you for having us. My name is Beth Eid. I am the Manager of Community and Family Systems with United Way of Calgary and area. And I've been lucky enough to work on Planet Youth for just a few months, just since November. And I've been learning a ton from these folks and other people within United Way, Trellis, and YMCA, and all the partners we work with.
Thank you so much, Beth, and welcome to the program.
Thank you.
Selina, could you please introduce yourself?
Hi, I'm Shalina Bata with Planet Youth in Saddle Ridge, Northeast. I work out of Genesis Center. I originate from East Africa, Tanzania, and I have been in Calgary for past 35 years. And on a Saturday morning, when we talk about planet, we are not going to be talking about solar system. We actually going to be talking about Planet Youth and our work, what we have done so far. And thank you for the opportunity for us to be here, and we are very excited to share our work.
Thank you so much, Selina. First of all, thank you so much for being here, guys. Let's talk about the Planet Youth itself. A lot of our viewers might not know about it, or even if they have heard about it. Would you like to tell us what it is in a nutshell?
Sure. So Planet Youth originally started in Iceland in the 1990s, and what they were noticing in Iceland was that youth were struggling, and really specifically what they were noticing was high rates of alcohol use among youth. And so the government and a lot of community partners got together to talk about what it would mean to solve the problem. And instead of responding to the crisis or running awareness campaigns, things like Just Say No campaigns. They decided that they really wanted to change the environment around youth. So what that meant was making sure that the family was healthy, that the school environment was strong, that peer relationships were strong, and that youth had things to do, positive things to do in the community. And over the time they ran this program, and they did things like, ran programs to try to encourage families to eat dinner together. They're really sort of ordinary sounding things that make a huge difference in youth lives. And over the time they ran this program, they went from having the highest rate of alcohol use in Europe to having the lowest rate. So we brought it to Calgary. We officially launched in Calgary in 2023, and these folks were involved really on the ground from the beginning. But United Way was planning to use this model much earlier than that. So they started within the organization in 2021, but they had been thinking about it, I think, since 2019. And they were responding to similar things that they were seeing in the community. Although in Calgary, they were specifically responding, I think, to youth mental health crisis. And that did look like, on the ground, sometimes substance use, but it also looked like other things. So the work we're doing happens in 4 priority communities. So Raphael works in Greater Forest Lawn, Shalina works in Saddle Ridge. We also do work in Thorncliffe, Huntington Hills, and in Shaughnessy. And we rely on, United Way relies on implementation partners. So these folks work for Trellis, but we also work with YMCA and Misconnewa Institute. So the program is a real partnership in community.
Absolutely. Thank you so much for the introduction about the Planet Youth. उहाँले भनेअनुसार प्लानेट युथ आइसल्यान्डमा पहिला सुरु भएको थियो र त्यसको मुख्य उद्देश्य भनेको विशेष गरेर युवाहरूलाई सब्सटेन्स एब्युजबाट बचाउनको लागि उहाँहरूले पहलहरू गर्दै हुनुहुन्छ र उहाँहरूले गर्ने पहलहरू फरक कुन रूपमा हुन्छ भने उहाँहरूले जस्ट नो भनेर भन्नुभन्दा पनि उहाँहरूले कम्युनिटीलाई फ्यामिलीलाई स्ट्रङ बनाएर युथहरूलाई फ्यामिलीहरूसँग इन्भल्भ गरेर उहाँहरूले युथलाई स्ट्रेन्थन गरेर यो समस्याहरू सल्भ गर्नलाई उहाँहरू कार्य गरिराख्नु भएको छ र अहिले हाल उहाँहरूले क्यालगरीमा पनि 2023बाट सुरु गर्नुभएको छ। क्यालगरीका विभिन्न कम्युनिटीहरूमा उहाँहरू अहिले हाल इन्भल्भ हुनुभएको छ। So Beth, talking a bit more about the activities of the Planet Youth itself and what are the major problems it's trying to solve. Also, we looked through your websites, great website and very informative. So you talk a lot about being data-driven. So what kind of data are you collecting and how it is impacting the problem you're trying to solve?
Yeah, so the foundation of the program, or one of the foundations of the program, is it relies on strong data in the community. So what that looks like is a survey that's done for grade 10 students. And at that stage, they're really gathering information about well-being, about family, about peer relationships, about the things that they do in their lives, and also about mental health, their own mental health. And we work with a research team at the University of Calgary who interpret that data and help us conduct the survey. We also do a lot of research in communities, so we do a lot of qualitative research with focus groups. We really deeply want to understand the realities of youth experience. And interestingly, there's a lot of similarities between the communities, but they're often different in the different communities that we work in, which is sort of really emphasizes the unique work that each of the coalitions and each of the communities is doing.
I think I'll add a little bit to what Beth was saying, that Planet Youth basically is a data-driven but also it's an upstream model. So it is it comes from the bottom up, right? Like it's not top down where the management or the leadership decides what kind of program to have in the community. It is usually a bottom up where the community gathers and build this up. So, and then from where do you build? From the data that we get from the youth. So it is an upstream preventative model, and at the same time, as I said, it's just a data driven. We don't want to have a program based on a popular opinion, which has been the case in Canada for many years. I read an article from the 2024 Metropolis Conference, and one of the presenters was presenting about how many programs are born and then die in a year or two because they're usually not based on data but based on a popular opinion. So what differentiates Planet is from the rest is that we are data based. So we couldn't start, let's say, from like it was, as Bez mentioned earlier, 2023 was the year that we launched it, but we didn't have enough data, or we didn't have survey administered in the community. So that's why we waited this long. So without the data, there is no Planet use. So that data drives everything, and the community is also, as I said earlier, the driver of the initiative.
Absolutely. Thank you so much.
Yeah.
I'd like to also add,
Yes.
this Icelandic model became so popular, and over 20 countries have been implementing this model. It has been very successful. If you look at the websites, you will even see the graphs that, okay, in how long did these numbers go down? So that's very exciting for us. And even while we did the surveys, we were talking to youth, like we would go to all the events in the community, and we just sit there and talk to youth, and they'd give us feedback. Like, youth are not shy. They'll let us know that, okay, we need this. I'll give you an example. I was at an employment event, and just sitting there, 6 youth came to me and said that, okay, I need to work in summer. I can't just stay home, but I need first aid training. And for first aid training, it is an expensive training, the money that I don't have. So Planet Youth was able to listen, hear them, and then we started offering first aid training. And over like 2 or 3 years, we have trained more than 100 youth. So that's a successful, that's excitement. Those are the opportunities we wait for, listen to them, and then implement. Make the change.
Yep, absolutely. Thank you so much. उहाँले भनेअनुसार उहाँहरूको चाहिँ डेटा ड्रिभन अप्रोच हुन्छ। उहाँले विशेष गरेर फ्यामिली पियर रिलेसनसिप्स, मेन्टल हेल्थ सम्बन्धी युथसँगै डिरेक्टली कम्युनिटीसँगै सर्वेहरू गरेर उहाँले इन्फर्मेसन लिएर उहाँले एनालाइज गरेर त्यही अनुसारको प्रोग्रामहरू पनि ल्याउनुहुन्छ। उहाँले भनेअनुसार उहाँहरूको अप्रोच भने बटम टु टप हुन्छ। उहाँहरू कम्युनिटीसँग डिरेक्टली इन्भल्भ भएर नै डेटा कलेक्ट गरेर रिसर्च गरेर त्यसबाट चाहिँ प्रोग्राम्सहरू उहाँले डिजाइन गर्नुहुन्छ। उहाँले भनेअनुसार उहाँहरूको रिसर्च टिम पनि रहेको छ युनिभर्सिटी अफ क्यालगरीमा, जसले रिसर्चहरू गर्नुहुन्छ। त्यसको साथसाथै उहाँले फोकस ग्रुप्सहरू पनि अर्गनाइज गर्नुहुन्छ। र उहाँहरूको फाउन्डेसन भनेकै विशेष गरेर युथसँग फिडब्याक कलेक्ट गरेर त्यसै अनुसारको प्रब्लम सल्भ गर्ने भनेर उहाँले भन्नुभयो। यो एउटा आइसल्यान्डिक मोडलबाट इन्सपायर्ड भएर अहिले हाल 20 भन्दा बढी देशहरूमा पनि यो फलो गरिएको छ। सेलिनाले भन्नुभएको अनुसार एउटा इक्जाम्पल पनि दिनुभएको थियो। उहाँहरूले युथहरूको फिडब्याक लिने क्रममा उहाँहरूले फर्स्ट एड ट्रेनिङ पनि चाहिएको छ युथहरूलाई भनेर उहाँले महसुस गरेर उहाँले अब रिसोर्सेसहरू म्यानेज गरेर त्यो प्रोग्राम पनि उहाँहरूले अर्गनाइज गर्नुभएको थियो र विगत 3 वर्षमा उहाँहरूले 100 भन्दा बढी युथहरूलाई अहिलेसम्म ट्रेनिङ पनि दिइसक्नु भएको छ। So little bit, I'd like to dive a little bit more into the types of service that you do. You spoke about a bit already, but how do you conduct the surveys? How does the youth service look like? And what do you do on the ground? Can you elaborate on it a bit more, please?
Okay, so our youth do surveys in school for high school students, and it is an extensive survey. Like, youth get parental consent, they sit on their iPad or even on their phones, and they just ask questions. They just answer the questions, and once they're done, it's done, right? And then our University of Calgary partners, they analyze the data. They analyze the data, they bring it back to us. So this is what has happened over last year, more towards end of last year, and beginning like end of 2024.
Yes, yeah,
we did
2024.
those surveys in schools, okay? And then it was not enough. We are hungry people, so it's not enough for us, and we wanted more. So over summer, we went to the events. We had conversation groups. Youth were doing those surveys at our events. We were talking to youth one-on-one, and they were letting us know all this important information. What is happening in their lives, what is happening within their family, what is happening in leisure activities. And we found a lot of information which we shared in the community. Like in September, all 4 priority sites were able to share all this information that, okay, here, what is happening in the Northeast, here, what is happening in Greater Forest Lawn area, in terms of different things. Like we were surprised to find that, okay, maybe, for example, leisure activities, it was good in all the priority sites, but in Northeast, it worked different because youth were feeling more challenged, right? So that little information takes us a long way. So that's what we did.
Yeah. To add to what Shalina already said is that, and even Beth touched it on our on the previous question, that the surveys were administered in. The surveys have to be administered in grade 10 high school students. So each priority community have 2 high schools. So let's say in Northeast we have Nelson Mandela and Bishop McNally. In the South, the same thing for Sloan and Father Locom. In the west side of Calgary, which is already, as mentioned by Beth, managed by YMCA, the Shaughnessy and the Thorncliffe. They also have 2 priority high schools. So what we've done is that we went to those high schools, administered a survey. But as Shalina mentioned, since parents had to opt in, so we need the signature from the parents. We couldn't get enough numbers, so we went out in the community again during the summer, Stampede breakfast, Stampede ground by itself, and then out in the ethnocultural communities. I think what Nepalese community was one of them too. So we did conversation groups and we gathered more data. So we were able to reach around 1,000 youth. So from that, then the University of Calgary analyzed the data and came back with us. We disseminated that data with the community in September 2025. From that, then we were able to narrow down those data that was shared by university. In first loan, in my case, we selected well-being as one of the domains, and then we narrow it down again to another 2 teams, which is sleep and mental health. Then again, we narrowed it down with a lot of how might we, down to 3 ideas. So every community went through this. So that's what I said. That's when I said, like, the community owns it. So that's how we run the program. So from September data dissemination to December, we were intensively working with the community, the youth, everyone, the youth, the parents, grassroots organized agencies, everyone was involved. So we had 4 workshops within that short time to narrow down those the data into programmable ideas. So we all had our ideas now narrowed down to 3 or 4 ideas in each priority community. Now we're at the stage where, okay, let's build prototype, whether to test those ideas, whether they can work in the community or not. Then we did another testing. Then we gave back the feedback to the community. So, yeah, as you said, it is data-driven, built by the community, and again, we gave back to the community. So the youth had their voice in all of this process that I was mentioning, because they were the ones who were presenting those ideas. And even to Iceland, they prepared the presentation and present those ideas to Iceland. And yeah, they're still at the center of everything that we do.
Thank you so much. उहाँहरूले भनेअनुसार उहाँहरूको अलि इलाबोरेट गर्नुभयो सर्वेहरू कस्तो हुन्छ, उहाँले प्यारेन्टल कन्सेन्ट लिएर एउटा युनिभर्सिटी अथवा कलेज स्टुडेन्ट्सहरूसँग उहाँहरूले सर्वेहरू गर्नुहुन्छ र थुप्रै एनालाइसिसहरूबाट नै उहाँहरूले कुन चाहिँ प्रोग्रामहरू इम्प्लिमेन्ट गर्ने, कसरी गर्ने, कुन चाहिँ इफेक्टिभ हुन्छ, कुन चाहिँ इफेक्टिभ हुँदैन भन्ने कुराहरू उहाँले डिसाइड गर्ने कुराहरू पनि उहाँले बताउनु भयो. Selena, talking about these surveys, the outputs of these surveys, what kind of feedbacks have you been receiving? What kind of voices have you been receiving from the youth, especially in Calgary? Would you like to share some information on that?
Oh, for sure. Thank you. I'd just like to give you a little bit of context prior to this data that we collected. Initially, when we started Planet Youth, we made a coalition of organizations, agencies, volunteers, partners. So Nepali community is one of our coalition members, by the way, and we appreciate them so much. They've supported us throughout our journey. So we would come together, and we still come together once a month to sit together. How can we support? How can we collaborate? Because little things, with little feedback, with little bit money, we can offer a lot when we come together, right? So that is a strength for us. Then we did that for a year, and then the 2025, beginning of 2025, we introduced a Planet Youth Council. So with Youth Council, we meet once a month, okay, same thing, but we do fun things. We do relationship building. We just sit there in a non-judgmental environment, not talking too much, but just even listening. Like we do fun activities. For example, last month we offered badminton for youth, and they came. Like we had over 32 youth come to play badminton, right? So those little things mean a lot to youth. They want to come out, participate, play, make friends, be with their peers. So that was separate. And then after, when we talk about dissemination of data, in September, we brought our adult coalition and our youth coalition together. So that gave us lots of information on what is actually happening in the community with our youth. So I'll give you two examples. I'm making up these names. So Faisal, for example, he is one of our youth who has been attending our youth council meetings, okay? And then he was on it, like he didn't shy out. Seeing all these adults, he saw it as a strength. And he was very vocal about how he has been playing with his peers, but now he wants to play with his family too. Like he wants his dad to come to the badminton court and play with him, right? So his idea is one of the ideas which is evolving right now as one of the ideas in Northeast, and he's very excited about it. We are excited for him to make this idea come to life. So everybody was able to give feedback and see, like, will this idea work in the community? And then we invited more youth to tell us that, would you like this? And they are for it, right? And the beautiful part about all this work is we are very blessed to have United Way back us up as a strength. And in my community, there were 4 ideas. So Raphael said his, but mine were different, right? In my community, youth chose family dynamics and generational gaps. So those were important for youth in my community. And now those 4 ideas, there is opportunity for grassroots organizations to apply for a micro grant to make these ideas come to life. So we are really, really excited for our next phase of work, while we are still working on more data, more information, which is coming up this summer. But we are also excited for these ideas to come to life. There was one girl, Mariam, she really was a strong advocate to say that, okay, my parents are busy, they will not come to this event, or they are very busy, they are very tired to come to these activities or events that you are hosting. By the way, that's what we'd like for public to know, that we are hosting lots of programs and events. Please participate, right? So she came up with this brilliant idea that, okay, why don't you make it lucrative for my parent to come? Why don't you offer maybe a recreation pass or maybe a zoo pass? So I can even go to a zoo with my family, but they have come and participated in this little sports event, or maybe they've come and participated in a workshop where they're, getting supports to be a better parent, or, something related to parenting, and then they're receiving these recreational passes where the whole family now will get to enjoy. So they've participated together in a program, and now they're going to be going out and having fun together.
Absolutely.
So huge win for us. Yeah.
Yep. उहाँले भनेअनुसार उहाँहरूले सोसल एक्टिभिटिज रिक्रिएसनल एक्टिभिटिजहरू पनि इन्भल्भ गरेर जस्ट सर्भिसहरू मात्रै नगरेर त्यसरी पनि उहाँले युथहरूलाई इन्करेज गर्दै गर्नुहुन्छ। उहाँले युथ काउन्सिलहरू पनि बनाउनु भएको छ र युथ र एडल्टहरूको कोएलिसनलाई टुगेदर ल्याउनलाई पनि उहाँहरूले पहलहरू गरिराख्नु भएको छ। त्यसको साथसाथै उहाँले एउटा स्टोरी पनि सेयर गर्नुभयो। उहाँहरूले एउटा स्पोर्ट्सहरू युथहरूका लागि भनेर अर्गनाइज गर्नुभएको थियो र त्यसैबाट केही युथले एकजना युथले चाहिँ आइडिया दिनुभयो, हामीले पियर्ससँग त गरिरहेका छौँ, पेरेन्ट्ससँग पनि अब गर्नु पर्यो भनेर उहाँहरूले त्यो आइडिया पाएपछि चाहिँ उहाँले त्यसमा कार्यान्वयन गर्दै हुनुहुन्छ अहिले। र यसमा पनि उहाँहरूले धेरै युथसँग फिडब्याकहरू पनि लिनुभयो र सबै मेजोरिटीहरू चाहिँ पोजिटिभ फिडब्याक नै रहेको पनि उहाँले बताउनु भयो। बेथ, also I would like to talk a bit about your experience as well. So what kind of findings have you seen from these surveys, or were there any surprising findings that you found? Could you please share your experience, please?
Yeah, I did want to pick up a little bit on what Shalina said, because what was surprising for me coming into this work was, well, there was a few surprising things. I suppose out of the survey or out of the qualitative data, what was so interesting to me was the experience of youth in communities that I hadn't been part of before. And so some of the stories that some of the youth were telling were about how they're really living a separate life in their school life from what they're experiencing at home, that their parents don't always necessarily understand or deeply understand what's going on at school for them. And so that was one of the reasons I think that in your community you talked about you wanted to work on intergenerational communication, that you really wanted to make sure that you were bridging that gap between generations and making sure that their experiences were sort of heard between generations. And I think what is so powerful about the work that both of these folks are doing in their communities is how much belonging they're bringing into the actual coalition work. So we're meeting once a month, as Shalina said, and there's magic in these meetings. You know, the folks are coming, youth are coming with their parents often, people are coming from agencies, and there's a real kind of ideal mix of people so that youth voices are heard, so that people are bringing their experiences from community. And I'm just constantly blown away by the quality of the ideas that are coming up, by how seriously they're taking the process. So Shalina talked a little bit about the testing, and Sir Raphael talked as well about the testing that we're doing in community, which is often being led by youth themselves. And so all of my surprises, all of my kind of job satisfaction comes from really the magic that's happening inside this coalition work.
Absolutely. Thank you for sharing that, Beth. So उहाँले भनेअनुसार विशेष गरेर उहाँले थुप्रै सरप्राइजिङ फाइन्डिङ्सहरू पनि पाउनुहुन्छ। उहाँले एउटा इक्जाम्पल पनि सेयर गर्नुभयो, विशेष गरेर पेरेन्ट्सहरू, अब उहाँहरूले घरमा जुन वातावरण हुन्छ चिल्ड्रेनहरूका लागि अथवा युथ्सहरूका लागि स्कुलमा चाहिँ अलिकति फरक हुने गर्दछ र धेरै जसो प्यारेन्ट्सहरूलाई त्यो कुरा पनि थाहा हुँदैन, र यो ग्याप ब्रिज गर्नका लागि उहाँहरूले इन्टरजेनेरेसनल कम्युनिकेसनलाई प्रायोरिटाइज गर्नका लागि उहाँहरूले प्रोग्राम्सहरू पनि त्यसै अनुसार प्लान गर्दै हुनुहुन्छ र यस्तै यस्तै फाइन्डिङ्सहरूले चाहिँ उहाँलाई थुप्रै सरप्राइज पनि हुनुभएको छ र उहाँहरूले युथले चाहिँ जेन्युनली नै आफ्ना फिडब्याक्सहरू दिइरहेको पनि उहाँले अनुभव गर्नुभएको उहाँले बताउनु भएको थियो. So we know Selena is currently working in the Saddle Ridge, looking after the Saddle Ridge area. Surafael is looking into the greater forest lawn areas. So what other communities are you working currently on, and then how do you decide on these communities where you want to work on?
Thanks for asking this. So we're working in, as you just said, Saddle Ridge, Greater Forest Lawn, Thorncliffe Huntington Hills, and Shaughnessy. And we call these the priority areas. They're really areas where we're piloting this work. So we're trying out this methodology in these very specific areas, but there's a view to rolling this out in a larger way to other communities in Calgary, or even to the whole of Calgary. And so they were chosen for lots of different reasons. There's lots of diversity in many different ways in these communities. You know, there's not always sort of one socioeconomic group. There's lots of different ethnic communities in these communities, and they each have different needs and kind of different characteristics. So in terms of the model and how the model is applied, it provides a lot of information about all of the sort of different situations that we might run into when we're, you know, really trying to make youth lives better.
And just talking about, for example, Saddle Ridge, my area, right? I'm not restricted to only Saddle Ridge. Like, if a youth is coming from Terradale, Martindale, Whitehorn, they are all welcome. Like, it's one unit. When we talk about youth, then we talk about youth in general. And even same, right? Yeah, for Surafael, it's not only Greater Forest Lawn, like it's the big catchment area. So we are listening, the ripple effects are going all around. And we are hosting, for example, we might host an event when, the typical good example for first aid, when we were offering that, we were not saying, okay, only for Saddle Ridge or only for Greater Forest Lawn. Like we would register children from Northwest, other parts of the city. So it's not only, you know what I mean, right? Like
that's very important.
Yeah. I think the other thing also is that we, as I said earlier, we have two priority high schools in each community. So those youth that are going to those schools, they might not live in the area that we are serving.
Yes.
This is just a priority area, but then also we support anyone. Now we don't turn a youth because they don't live in the area that we're serving.
Yeah.
Yep, absolutely. Like you said, it's for all youths in Calgary, or even Canada. So yeah, I wish you also good luck and best wishes from us on your expansion. We hope like this gets to much more communities in the future, and then every youth can benefit from it. So उहाँहरूले भनेअनुसार उहाँले हाल केही समुदायहरूबाट यो पाइलट प्रोग्राम सुरु गर्नुभएको छ र उहाँको क्यालगरीभरि नै एक्सपान्ड हुने पनि उहाँको योजनाहरू रहेको छ र उहाँले थुप्रै इक्जाम्पल्सहरू पनि दिनुभएको थियो किन यो कम्युनिटिजहरू चुज गरियो र उहाँले भन्नुभए अनुसार यिनी कम्युनिटिजहरू चुज भए तापनि अन्य समुदायहरूबाट पनि पार्टिसिपेट गर्न सक्नुहुनेछ उहाँले भनेअनुसार र अब हामी फेरि पनि कन्भर्सेसनल निरन्तरता दिँदै गर्दाखेरि can you also so for example we already spoke about how we collect the data and then how we plan projects or plan programs based on it. So we would like to hear more about what kind of projects have you implemented so far, or what's happening on the ground right now. So could you share some of your projects?
I'm so excited to share about this event. So when I talked about Faizan, who gave an idea that I'd like to play soccer, for example, or badminton with my father. Like I want my father to be here, right? So that idea is in works. Like there is grant already, it's in works. So some non-profit organization will get that grant and work more towards that. But we just want to test the waters, right? So for today, we are really excited to start. We are offering this twice a month. Is that okay? Let's try something different. In partnership with Sport Calgary, Pamir Canadian Multicultural Society, Trellis and Planet Youth, and Genesis Center, we are hosting a soccer event today. So children get to play soccer, and parents, it's just 1 hour, right? So instead of parents leaving or having nothing to do, we are offering them Zumba class. So then they'll adults do Zumba with a professional teacher. They do that, the children do that, and then finally they all come together and enjoy pizza. So simple idea, but we are trying to make it so wide that we are, gaining so much out of it, right? So that is happening today at Genesis Center. If anybody is interested, I'll leave the poster here with Ramesh, my friend. If you can post it, the next one is on the 18th. This is our pilot. This is what we are offering for the first time, right? So this is there. And then I'll share a little success with the needlepoint sessions that we've just run. There was a community member who is really skilled at needlework, and she wanted to get back, give back to the community. So we supported her to get a community City of Calgary grant, and she offered 10 sessions. And those 10 sessions were the most beautiful thing I have ever seen, because there were families with different able children come participate with their parents and their caregivers. Excuse me. And also youth, very shy youth, were able to participate. Now, they just started coming to this needlepoint work sessions, and now they have transferred and joined us for our coalition work. Very beautiful to see that. Sorry, excuse me. So that is happening. And this group who has been coming on Saturday for Saturday classes, they don't want to break that momentum. They like coming. They like meeting each other. They like that they have made so much friends. And they like the way they learn so much things from each other. So now we're continuing the craft classes as well, right? So those little things, little growth moments, little opportunities, we build on them.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Sorry, I just wanted to jump in
Sorry.
because
Yeah.
our friends from Thorncliffe, Huntington Hills, and Shaughnessy aren't here, and there's a lot of amazing things going on in those communities as well. So in Thorncliffe, Huntington Hills, Adore, who's the Planet Youth Manager there, runs homework help. She does a program on Saturdays, Youthful Saturdays, where youth can just drop in. It's a sort of safe space where they can just spend time. Today they're doing an Easter egg hunt. They've got, I think, 120 youth coming for that event. In Shaughnessy, they've got Campfire Connections, and this is all organized by youth in the community to try to, bring folks from the community in to meet each other. So I think what all of these events kind of characterize is there's this sense of saying yes and just trying things out in community and bringing people together and, seeing how it lands and making sure that youth experience is always at the forefront.
Yes, and Surafil is a very good example for Greater Forest Lawn area.
Yes, I think Shalina and Beth have already said it all, but I just want to add a little bit about why Planet Youth existed, right? Like, Planet Youth exists because we know there is a gap. We know that everyone is working in a silo, so the goal of Planet Youth is to bring everyone out and work together. So, and as I earlier said, Planet Youth is based on data and research. So all those things that we're doing is just by partnering with other organizations or other agencies so that we can support what they're doing. So if we see any preventative factor, we partner with them. Let's say the soccer is one of them, right? Or the needle. In First Loan, we had, as Shalina was mentioning, we had this basketball court renovation. So in 2024, we someone, of course, did some graffiti on the basketball court. The youth who lives in the area wasn't happy about it, and all the youth start to stop coming. Then he reached out to me, and we collaborated with the city of Calgary, the aquatic center, which is the Bobahan. We partnered with them, so we decided to renovate the space. So what we did was we planned with the youth. His name is Karma. He was leading everything. So we partnered with them. We renovated in partnership with Antiques organization. We brought other agencies as well. So the whole community came out. There were around 50 to 60 youth who came out to renovate the space. We renovated it. Youth started to come out, right? Like they started to play basketball. It became again live. And then in a year, we came back, renovated, start to paint again the fading lines and whatnot. So that is what Planet aims to do, right? Anything that has to do with prevention, we jump in, we support the community, but we don't have any programming. All those programs are in partnership or collaboration with other agencies. Yeah.
Absolutely. And one thing also that I realized from our conversation today is you're actually empowering the youth in taking leaderships, taking initiatives, bringing in ideas.
Mm-hmm.
So I think this also helps them build themselves so that they can do even better in the future. Yes. So that's one of the great things that you've been doing. And congratulations on that.
Yes, I'll give you a very good example. We are very new, fairly new, comparing to other organizations that exist already. But in short period of time, when we started the youth council meetings, there was a grade 12 student attending our coalition meetings. So he started coming, and so these are the opportunities that, okay, it was considered as if he's volunteering. So his volunteer hours for school were met. He got support in getting a reference because now we get to know him. We have worked very well with him. He has been dedicated. He has supported Planet Youth work. So we were able to give him a reference. And now he's working, right? So, but the legacy still continues. His sister, who is a second sibling, now attends Planet Youth. Why? Mother's words. My children get confidence, they become independent. It's not too far away from home, so they've been busing, okay? And third sibling is ready as well to come to Planet Youth Council meetings. So that is a huge win. It's a beautiful thing that has ever happened.
Absolutely. उहाँले भनेअनुसार पेरेन्ट्स र युथ्सहरूको एक आपस बिचमा क्लोजनेस ल्याउनको लागि पनि उहाँले थुप्रै इभेन्ट्सहरू युथहरूकै कुराहरू सुनेर उहाँले इम्प्लिमेन्ट गर्नुभएको छ। त्यसका लागि उहाँहरूले एउटा इभेन्ट पनि अर्गनाइज गर्नुभएको छ। स्पोर्ट क्यालगरी, प्राइमेर क्यानाडियन मल्टिकल्चरलिजम काउन्सिल र ट्रेलिस सोसाइटी र प्लानेट युथ मिलेर उहाँहरूले अप्रिल 11 र अप्रिल 18मा 4:15 PM देखि 5:15 PM सम्म जेनेसिस सेन्टरमा किड्सहरूका लागि सकर, पेरेन्ट्सहरूका लागि जुम्बा क्लासेस र एक आपससँग किड्स र पेरेन्ट्सहरू पनि एक आपससँग कोलाबरेट गर्ने यो एउटा स्वर्ण अवसर पनि उहाँहरूले सृजना गर्नुभएको छ। यसका बारेमा थप जानकारी यहाँले प्लानेट युथको वेबसाइटमा पनि पाउन सक्नुहुनेछ। त्यसका साथसाथै उहाँहरूले एभ्री स्याटरडे अप्रिल 11देखि दिउँसो 3 बजेदेखि 4:30 बजेसम्म क्राफ्ट क्लब पनि आयोजना गर्नुभएको छ। जेनेसिस सेन्टरमै रुम D122 कम्युनिटी विङमा पनि उहाँले अर्गनाइज गर्नुभएको छ। यहाँ निडल वर्क, मेन्डिङ, बिड्स वर्क, ज्वेलरी मेकिङ, पेन्टिङ लगायत थुप्रै कार्यक्रमहरू पनि एक्टिभिटिजहरू पनि रहेका छन्। यसका बारेमा पनि जानकारी यहाँहरूले प्लानेट युथको वेबसाइटबाट पनि प्राप्त गर्न सक्नुहुनेछ। र यसै सँगसँगै म केही एनाउन्समेन्ट पनि गर्न चाहन्छु। नेपाली समुदायमा पनि विभिन्न इभेन्ट्सहरू हुन गइरहेका छन्। र इभेन्ट्सहरूमै कुराकानी गर्नुपर्दाखेरि आज एनसिएससीमा रेज्युमे राइटिङदेखि लिएर जब सर्च स्ट्राटेजिजहरू र त्यसका साथसाथै इन्टरभ्यू स्किल्सहरूका बारेमा पनि कार्यक्रम हुन गइरहेको छ। आज बिहान 10 बजेदेखि 12 बजेसम्म एनसिएससी रिसोर्स सेन्टरमा हुन गइरहेको छ। यस प्रोग्राममा यहाँहरूले प्रोफेसनल रेज्युमे कसरी बनाउने, इन्टरभ्यू प्रिपरेसनका टिप्सहरू, त्यसका साथसाथै क्यानाडामा जब सर्च कसरी गर्ने भनेर स्ट्राटेजीहरूको बारेमा कुराकानी पनि गर्नुहुनेछ। र त्यसका साथसाथै ब्लड डोनेसन ड्राइभ पनि हुन गइरहेको छ क्यालगरीमा। नेप्लिज कम्युनिटी सोसाइटी अफ क्यालगरी र एनआरएन क्यानाडादेखि लिएर सिएनसिए र नेप्लिज ब्लड डोनर्स एसोसिएसन क्यानाडाको संयोजकत्वमा यो कार्यक्रम हुन गइरहेको छ। 25 अप्रिलमा दिउँसो 1:35 2:20 पेन वेस्ट प्लाजामा हुन गइरहेको छ। यहाँहरूले थप जानकारीका लागि एनसिएससी अथवा एनआरएन क्यानाडा र सिएनसिएको पेजमा पनि यहाँहरूले जानकारी प्राप्त गर्न सक्नुहुनेछ। र त्यसका साथसाथै नेपाली न्यू इयर सेलिब्रेसन नयाँ वर्ष 2083 पनि आयोजना हुन गइरहेको छ। नेप्लिज कम्युनिटी सोसाइटी अफ क्यालगरीले यही अप्रिल 18 शनिबार बेलुका 5 बजेदेखि नयाँ वर्ष मनाउन गइरहेको छ टेम्पल कम्युनिटी हलमा। रजिस्ट्रेसनका डिटेल्सका लागि यहाँले एनसिएससीलाई सम्पर्क गर्न सक्नुहुनेछ। त्यसका साथसाथै एनसिएससीको फेसबुक पेजमा पनि यहाँले यो इन्फर्मेसन प्राप्त गर्न सक्नुहुनेछ। र अब हामी फेरि पनि ब्याक टु आवर कन्भर्सेसन। सो we talked a bit about how youths are doing, how we are collecting the feedbacks from the youths in designing these programs for youths. I was also interested to know about how parents and families can play a role in this, or for example, how do schools, non-profits, or even local government organization can collaborate on this together to make this more successful.
We would welcome all the parents. It would be our dream to be able to welcome all the partnering agencies. So far, we have had so many collaborators with us, like the Crest Center, Single Moms Society, Pame Multicultural Society, Genesis Center has helped us. SIVA, Canadian Zalmi Society, First Step Together, Elm Society. So all these little ICRA, all these little organizations are coming up. But it is a strength. So we would like to increase the support of parents. There have been some parents coming to our coalition meetings, but we would really love it for Greater Forest Lawn, all our priority sites, parents. So if, for example, in Nepali community, you are living in Northwest, please join the Greater the Thorncliffe Planet Youth Coalition. If you are in South, Shaughnessy is there. So you don't have to be attached to one, but we are giving an open invitation to all the parents to kindly come with the children if they want to, and support. If they want to send just the youth, that's fair enough, that's good too. But if it would be really beautiful for us to see both the parents and their children be involved. Yeah. And we get, like, we see bits and pieces of it, but we would like to see it bloom now. We are ready for that. And when we were talking about the surveys, we have done the surveys in a very confidential way. No name, no race, no gender was attached to the surveys. It was just youth, that's it.
Anonymous, yeah.
Anonymous, no names. So very, very confidential. It was, even when they were doing, the youth were doing the surveys on the laptop, we didn't ask for personal information. Even when we were doing group conversation groups, no names were attached. That's it.
Thank you so much.
Yeah.
उहाँहरूले भनेअनुसार कम्प्लिटली एनोनिमस हुन्छ र पेरेन्ट्सहरूलाई पनि उहाँले इन्करेज गर्नुभएको छ। र अब हामी कार्यक्रममा पनि समय निकै कम भइसकेको हुनाले हामी अब नेक्स्ट कन्भर्सेसनतिर लाग्छौँ। So also we know that you also have this indigenous parallel approach, and also you are adapting these models to indigenous communities as well. Could you please elaborate on how why this is important, and also explain about the approach itself, please?
Thank you. Yeah, that is actually another group that isn't with us today to speak to their own experiences. As with the rest of the Planet Youth work, United Way sort of exists as a backbone, but we're working with community partners on implementation. So with the Indigenous parallel, the idea is that all knowledge systems are valid and equally valid. And so our Western way of doing Planet Youth can exist in tandem or next to the Indigenous approach. So there's a lot of similarities between the approaches just in terms of the ingredients that go into it. The Indigenous group also has a research team that they work with at the university who have expertise in Indigenous ways of knowing, knowledge systems, and methodologies. They work with elders and youth elders in the community. Their implementation partner or the partner that they work with in the community is called Musconwa. And they work really closely with youth to create what they call ethical space. And so it's making sure that the participants who are part of the coalition feel safe, honored, heard, and that they're moving at the pace that they need to move at. And so it's really led by those youth elders and elders in the community, and they base it on a Blackfoot circle model known as the NEST. So again, it's about safety, making sure that youth feel heard. All of those things are sort of part of that Indigenous parallel work.
Absolutely, and we also wish you best on the initiative, and you're getting everyone involved in. Seems everyone's involved in Planet Youth at the moment, and that's the great thing to have. So we're now near the end of our program. I'd like to so at the end before we move to your final comments. The one thing I think we've also talked about it a lot, that there is this gap between the youth and the parents that we don't know about. So for example, like in what's happening in the schools, the parents don't know much about it. So what one thing you would wish that the parents or adults would understand about young people?
You know, my work with Planet Youth has been very exciting, and no youth or no child wants to disappoint their parents. That's one thing as a fact. So let us take time to listen, be in the space with our youth, and try to support that. It's very simple.
Absolutely. Thank you.
I think it's easy to overlook youth voices. Often when we're planning, so Raphael was talking about the programming that happens as a result of the model. And when we're thinking about what to do in community to make youth lives better, ironically, we often don't talk to youth about that. We sort of, as adults and as parents, think we know best. And what this model teaches me is to really honor youth voices, that they have a tremendous amount of experience and expertise in their own lives and in what conditions will make their lives better.
Absolutely. Thank you so much, Beth. Raphael.
Yeah, thanks for the opportunity again. I think youth want to be heard. Like they've told us that they're struggling. They've told us that they are struggling for many reasons, and one of for example, in my community, is one of the things is sleep, right? Like they're telling us that one child told us, one youth, of course, not a child, told us that they scroll for 7 hours before they return to bed. So this is telling us that they know they are struggling, so they're asking for our help. They're begging that, okay, we need your attention, you need your time. I know in Calgary, in generally, and in the newcomer communities, that parents don't have enough time for their kids because they have to pay the bills. They're probably doing 2 jobs and whatnot. So what the youth are saying is that we need your attention, we need your time, so that we can thrive together, right? Like if we don't listen to them, then I think we're doomed to fail, because they are the future generation. They are the future of this country. So they want us to listen. they want us to give them the time so that we can all thrive together.
Absolutely. Yep. Thank you so much for the message. Now we're almost at the end of the program, so I'd like to give you the opportunity. I know we had a lot of things to talk about, but we couldn't cover all of it because of the time. But still, at the end, are there any final comments that you'd like to make, Selena?
Yes, please, when you see Planet Youth events or activities advertised, please join us. When it comes time to be participating in our conversation groups for this summer, please let your children come talk to us, and we can make it better. We can thrive better together.
Absolutely. Thank you so much,
Thank
Selena.
you. Yeah.
Beth, do you have any final comments?
Picking up on what Shalina was just saying, get involved in a coalition as parents, as youth, as community members. If you're part of an agency, there's magic that happens there, and there's a tremendous amount of opportunity that opens up when we all get together. And if you're a parent, especially a parent of a child who's going into grade 10, watch out for the survey. It's going to be happening in the fall.
Thank you so much, Beth. Rafael?
Yeah, thanks. I think we probably said everything, but I also want to say thank you to everyone who's been part of this journey so far, the youth, the parents, agencies, the schools, everyone who's been part of Planet Youth. And the one thing that I want to see is that we want our youth to be successful, we want our youth to thrive, and to do that we all should come together as a community. Everyone should come out. Parents, unless we all work together, I don't think we will be able to get where we want to get. And one of the things that I want to say is to parents that once there is a message coming from school or from Planet Youth, please pay attention to it. Hopefully, as Beth was saying, by summer we'll have another survey in schools. So we want parents to opt in, to sign the consent form, so that we can hear more from the youth in our community, because we feel like we're not covering the whole group that we want to, because during our last survey, most of the youth who participated had the parent engagement in their life. We also want to reach to those youth who don't have the parent engagement in their life for many reasons. It's not that parents don't want to be engaged in their life of their youth, but there's a lot of other factors, right? So we want parents to be part of it, to be part of the coalition, and to send their youth to the coalition as well. By being part of the coalition, actually, you get a lot of things. One of them is that you get your school volunteer hours. We help you with your maybe university application and whatnot. So we also have other opportunities. So just come join us.
Thank you
to
so
be
much.
conscious of time. Yes.
Thank you so much, Rafael.
Yes,
Yep, we're almost at the end of the program. So आज हामीसँग हुनुहुन्थ्यो टेलिस सोसाइटी अन्तर्गत प्लानेट युथ म्यानेजर सेलिना बाता, प्लानेट युथ म्यानेजर सुरफियल किब्रियब र युनाइटेड वेबाट म्यानेजर अफ कम्युनिटी एन्ड फ्यामिली सिस्टम्स बेथ ईद। र हामी फेरि पनि यहाँलाई प्रोग्राम कस्तो लाग्यो हामीलाई प्रतिक्रिया दिन नबिर्सनु होला। हाम्रो फेसबुक पेज र युट्युब च्यानलमा यहाँले जुनसुकै बेला पनि हाम्रो आज लगायतका विगतका प्रोग्रामहरू हेर्न सक्नुहुनेछ। र फेरि पनि यहाँहरू सबैलाई म धेरै धेरै धन्यवाद दिन चाहन्छु र यहाँहरूको सुझाव सल्लाह र प्रतिक्रियाको आशा गर्दै यहाँहरू सम्पूर्णलाई फेरि पनि हामी अर्को साता नयाँ विषयवस्तु लिएर उपस्थित हुने नै छौँ। धन्यवाद।
Thank you.
CKYR 106.7 FM Calgary.
Red FM.
This is the Malayalam Show on Red FM.